I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Blog Talk Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we want you to talk to us as well, because your voice matters. And today we're going to talk about some voices that matter, especially with this upcoming presidential election. This war in the Middle East, in Gaza, where Palestinians have been regulated to live, is a real hot button issue in this presidential election. And many people are anti-war. But this particular war,
the Muslim population is taking it very personally, how the presidential election is going to affect the outcome and the safety and security for those who are living in Palestine under Israeli occupation and rule. This war is vicious, and it's a main issue for many who are choosing who they're going to support in this upcoming election. Well, it would seem that the choices are between the Democratic candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, or the Republican candidate, former President Donald Trump. But there's a third voice and a third opinion. Green Party candidate Jill Stein. For many, she's been the only candidate that has spoken out forcefully against the treatment of the Palestinian people. Is her candidacy something that will affect the outcome of the election? The Democrats tend to respond as if a third party candidate will take away votes from their party. Well, it's unsure. Perhaps these are voters that would have stayed home otherwise. So we're going to bring you a bit of Jill Stein, Green Party candidate for president. And later we'll be talking to the Cook County chair of the Green Party, our own Zoe Ma. And we'll hear and see some of the questions asked about this very hot topic. And we'll get your opinions. Is it time to consider a third party candidate? We'll be back with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family and you to find out your views about the third party candidate Jill Stein, the war in Gaza, and will this be the issue that affects the U.S. presidential election? We'll be right back, so stay with us.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On-Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
Yes, we do want to hear from you.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution.
And let us bring in our co-hosts, Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Naim al-Latif. Praise be to Almighty God. I'm grateful that once again we are broadcasting the Female Solution over the airwaves this morning. A wonderful broadcast, very educational, very enlightening, and very, how can I say, aspirational. I'm grateful to be a part of the Female Solution.
Well, we're certainly grateful for you and your presence and the American Muslim 360 family, because we know that our voices matter. And today we're going to share a bit with our audience, a presentation by Green Party candidate Jill Stein to a group of Muslims. And of course, it's widely known that this is a major issue that she's addressing, the war in Gaza. And many people, such as yourself, have expressed the idea that you cannot support the Democratic Party candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, because her point of view simply is not strong enough in condemning the Palestinian genocide. Many, many people feel that way, not just Muslims, but there's a sizable population that can, in fact, swing the vote. So we're going to talk about that and listen to some of the things that Jill Stein has said. And later on, we'll be joined by Cook County Green Party Chair, our own Zoe Ma, who has been taking this candidate to various communities and understanding the power of the Muslim vote, has given Jill Stein an opportunity to address this very intensely anti-war population with the idea that perhaps enough votes can swing the election and may even create a surprising outcome. So we want to take a look at this, especially because as Black people, we have tended to believe we only had one choice since, I guess it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt that caused a shift from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party for Black people, because we always look at who is most likely to support our interests. And I know during that time, after the Depression and everything else, and the lynching that was going on in the South, I mean, that was an issue, you know. So when we vote, we think in terms of our life and death struggle, and it's real. So we can understand when people must make a decision based on their survival, who is most sensitive to the real threat to their lives, the real attack on their lives. And so we understand when it comes to which candidate is going to speak against the ongoing genocidal attacks, a decision has to be made. We understand that. We've been through that. We've been doing that ever since we had to fight for and attain the right to vote. So before we show this clip, I just want to get your thoughts. Had you heard of Green Party candidate Jill Stein before? I know she's run a couple of times, but this time she's been particularly strong in speaking out against the war. Had you had a chance to hear any of her speeches, addresses, positions up to this point?
Yes, I have, and I'm very grateful for her honest assessment of the genocide that is occurring in occupied Palestine. You know, they keep trying to frame this as a war, but
Yes.
it's not a war, it is a massacre.
Yes.
It is a slaughter of innocent people. It is ethnic cleansing. A war is like two nations fighting one another.
Mm-hmm.
But these are inhabitants of the same, these are inhabitants of the same land. And one is an occupier, and one group of people, the Palestinians, are the occupied. And according to international law, the party that is occupied have the right to fight for their freedom.
Yes.
They have the right to break out of that prison called Gaza, so they are trying to label this as it's a war. No, this is a well thought out plan to exterminate the Palestinians from occupied Palestine. So, and it's happening right before our eyes.
Yes.
Social media, TikTok, and all the other platforms have done an excellent job of showing what is really occurring in occupied Palestine, right before the world, with no hesitation about the opinion of people around the world. So, this is atrocious. We hear about the Holocaust. We hear about it. And we regret that horrible situation existed. But now we not only hear, we can visually see. We can visually see the bombing and the slaughter of babies, elderly, women, children, men, hospitals, aid trucks trying to deliver aid. They have come to the decision, we shall starve them out.
Yes.
We will withhold the aid that's coming from the United Nations. Matter of fact, they attacked some of the UN facilities, the United Nations peacekeepers in that area. So, how that's like, I'm quite sure that not too many of us are old enough to share this name, but there was a governor of Mississippi, Bilbo was his name. And people that know, they know Bilbo's roots is. So the choice to vote between Bilbo and George Wallace at that era, that's not really a choice. They both support the same policies. And I'm asked to lend my name as an endorsement to these type of people. I cannot do it. I will vote down ballot because there's a politicians here in Missouri that needs to be replaced, I will vote down ballot. But as far as the national ticket, I find no satisfaction in lending support to this administration and the one that's seeking to replace it. They have said that there will be no change in policy.
Yes.
That we support Israel 100%. So I cannot bring myself to endorse either candidate or either party. Not when we are seeing what is taking place. And not only in Gaza, they are ignoring the civil war going on in the Sudan.
Yes.
there are more people displaced in the country of Sudan than has ever been recorded in recorded history.
Wow.
There is slaughter, there's men, women, and children being killed. You know, so these are decisions that we have to make. These, for me, these are the times that try men's souls. That try men's souls.
Yeah.
We heard this laundry list of gifts that they plan to give the American people. We are going to rebuild the infrastructure. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. Every year, they toss crumbs to the American citizens as our homelessness. I mean, there's conditions in this country. It's reprehensible.
I know, they're horrific.
Yes. So, but I understand there are people that are faced with a decision based upon their own personal benefit. I understand that. So that's a choice that every individual has to make.
Yes.
Every individual has to make. But I ask them, don't close your eyes to the slaughter that's occurring in occupied Palestine.
Yes.
Nor the Sudan. There's a backdrop to what is happening in the Sudan. Oil has been found.
Oh.
In South Sudan.
There's always
and the big oil giant, Chevron, is arming the rebels.
Wow.
By way of the UAE. So, and the order came from the corporation to, before we can extract the oil, you must clear the land.
Which means
they didn't mean
remove the
cut the
people.
grass.
They meant get rid of the people.
Cut down the bush.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Very atrocious.
And we need to know that, especially if there's any way that we're benefiting from the slaughter financially. And that's usually what makes Americans turn a blind eye to atrocities abroad, if it appears that there is some kind of financial gain. And for some strange reason, these wars are presented in some kind of, either they're ignored or they're presented in some kind of way to make it sound like it's some noble cause. And there is no noble cause in any of these cases. As you pointed out, it's all economics. It's all about land grab, exploitation, taking what belongs to others. And if we have a conscience, then we need to not support any political party that is advocating continuing these atrocities. However nice language they couch it in, we have to see through the subterfuge and know that murder is being committed, pure and simple. So we're going to show a few minutes of Jill Stein as she addressed a Muslim audience in what's known as Little Palatine here in Illinois. And then we're going to bring on, and then we'll take a break and we'll bring on the Cook County chair of the Green Party, Zoe Ma, who's going to give us a bit of insight about this process of making a voice heard that perhaps does represent how the people feel in ending this war. So for those who are listening online, of course, we invite you to join our conversation. You can give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891, and press 1 when you're ready to speak. And of course, we invite you to tune in on our YouTube channel, The Female Solution, or our Facebook page, the Female Solution, if you want to see the presentation you're about to hear. And this is, of course, Green Party candidate Jill Stein, who is making it known that she does, in fact, stand against war in Gaza. And this is an opportunity for us to consider an alternative.
So I just wanted to welcome you for that.
Well, thank you so much. Wait, do you want me to launch in? How would you like to proceed?
Actually, when everyone here, a lot of people have submitted a bunch of questions,
Yes.
and we organized them.
Great.
But we wanted to just start off with what is, for people who are not super familiar with the Green Party kind of policies, just if you can take us to like 3 to 5 key points of why you're running, on what are you running on?
Sure. And first, just let me give a big thank you to this community, to the community of Palestinians, the community actually of Muslim Americans and Arab Americans who are a moral compass for the nation, a nation that is very much adrift at sea, in a era of empire and oligarchy and settler colonialism. You know, among the things that are happening right now, we had Indigenous Peoples Day, you know, which we celebrated actually just yesterday in Seattle, which was actually the origin of the movement for Indigenous Peoples Day, and which has spread from there, where so many of us came together, Palestinians, Indigenous tribes, and working people with Workers Strike Back and labor, to basically, you know, acknowledge the desperate moment that we're in, this moment of genocide, that really encapsulates what is wrong with empire. So it's both what's happening in Gaza, but it's also much bigger than Gaza. And it really is very much this settler colonialism, the Zionism, the state of ethnic cleansing that has gone on for 76 years now. We are experiencing the pinnacle of that. It's come to its logical endpoint. And it is a challenge to all of us. Gaza is not different from our shared future. What we allow to happen in Gaza is the future. And the murder and torture of children and innocent civilians is being normalized right now. And we cannot allow this to happen. So I'm so grateful to this community, to the Palestinian community, the Muslim American, the Arab American community, really for standing up, both for our civil liberties and our constitutional rights here at home, which are very much under attack, even for all Americans, especially for Muslims, but indeed for all Americans right now. And for your standing up, really to lead the way as a moral compass for the nation, to end this genocide and the empire and the assault on human rights and international law that is going on with that as well. So I am extremely grateful to this community for your courage and for your leadership. Know how much you are appreciated. Quickly about the Green Party. The Green Party is a people-powered party. I myself grew up in the time of the Vietnam War, and seeing both Democrats and Republicans carry out really a genocidal war in which millions of dark-skinned people were being murdered for no reason at all, except for reasons of economic domination, really. I myself wanted nothing to do with politics, and it wasn't until my hair was this color that I became a political activist out of desperation. I grew up just after the Holocaust, you know, and the genocide of Jews, where our community was asking itself, is there life after genocide? You know, how do you come back after genocide? And we in my community came back resolving that genocide would never happen again. We would not let it happen again, not to anyone. So growing up with that as a background, I was an activist, always an activist, and saw one movement after another being crushed by the power of oligarchy, money in politics, whether it was fighting for healthcare as a human right, fighting to get money out of politics, which we actually succeeded in doing in my home state. We passed public financing for elections. In my home state of the progressive democratic shining example for the nation in Massachusetts, after we passed that bill by voter referendum, the Democratic legislature repealed it on a voice vote so they could preserve their advantages of big money in politics. After seeing one movement after another basically crushed, I was tricked into running for office for the first time in the year 2002, running against Mitt Romney for governor in my home state. And I discovered in the course of that election that there is such a hunger out there for a politics of integrity, for a politics that is not bought and paid for, a politics that doesn't smell like a rat, a politics that can actually represent. I consider myself an anti-politician. Not only am I not a politician, I'm an anti-politician because I despise what politicians stand for and what our political system represents in this country. As someone, I trained as a medical doctor by training, by profession. I was a healthcare provider, saw our health crumbling, and I'll try to cover a number of topics here by way of telling this introduction. But I saw our health crumbling. I saw new epidemics of asthma, cancer, developmental disabilities in children, which didn't exist when I was growing up, and suddenly here they were. Our genes didn't change overnight. Something's going on in our communities. I became very involved at the level of communities, try to clean up our air, to address food deserts, and nutrition and housing and poverty. Poverty is the biggest driver, or one of the main drivers. It's the number 4 cause of mortality in the whole country. So poverty is a huge assault on our health. So I became involved in that level and saw one movement after another was betrayed by our political, representatives who would promise that they were on our side. And then when it came to actually passing a bill, they would change one word, from shall do something to may do something. And 5 years of work would just go down the drain. So at any rate, I was persuaded to run for office with the Green Party in order to fight back when everything else had failed. And what I discovered, and this was like in the year 2002, was that there is so much hunger for a different kind of politics that is not bought and paid for, that is actually of, by, and for the people instead of, by, and for the corporations, especially Wall Street and the war machine, the weapons contractors, AIPAC, the health insurance, the pharmaceutical and fossil fuel industry. These are just some of the usual suspects. I throw in the real estate industry as well, and people are struggling now, are struggling in virtually every dimension of our lives. This is my 3rd run with the Green Party for president. I've run many races before that as well in the process of building to fight. If you're going to fight against the empire without taking the bribes of big corporations, I mean, they don't offer us money anyhow because they know better than to do that. We have a reputation for saying what we mean and doing what we say. So, corporations wouldn't waste their money on us. So that leaves us really as a small donor campaign. The Green Party does not accept corporate money, PAC money, like from AIPAC or other PACs from weapons contractors. You can't go to the Green Party and write $1 million check. If you're talking about the Harris campaign or the Trump campaign or RFK, you can write them $1 million check, or even the libertarians, they take $1 million checks. We stick by the rules, which are, basically small donor campaigns. So no one can buy influence in the party. We are a political party that is of, by, and for the people. What we say is what we do. We don't betray our supporters because that's all we've got. We don't have corporations. They don't buy into our agenda.
And that is a bit of Jill Stein, Green Party candidate for president. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Zoe Ma, who is the Cook County chair of the Green Party. And we're going to take a close look at the politics of this election. Strategically, what could happen if there are many votes that swing to the Green Party? And what some people are hoping may happen, which would be a force in the change of policy based on the voice of the people, making it clear that they are not going to be forced to support either party that does not support them. So we'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. Give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. We want to hear from you, and we want you to voice your opinion. Would you consider voting for a third party? And do you think that if a particular community makes its political power felt, it can begin to influence public policy? We'll be right back after this quick break, so we want you to stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all. Race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms.
Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On-Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
Yes, we do want to hear from you. And today we want to hear from you because if you're a voter in the United States, you have the power to make your voice heard. And if you don't like the policies that are being expressed, you can say something this election season. So the Green Party has been around for quite a while, but it's recently got a shot in the arm with some young, enthusiastic leadership. And with this new leadership comes new energy and new possibilities. So, of course, among those new leaders that have taken the reins of the Green Party and begun to carry the message to a new generation of voters is our own Zoe Ma, who is the new Cook County chair of the Green Party. And she's joining us today to give a bit of insight about this newly energized party and what it may do in affecting the outcome of this upcoming election. Thank you for joining us, Zoe. I love your new hat.
Yes, this is actually the Hui Muslim head covering from China. You know, I'm a Hui Chinese Muslim by birth.
Yes.
And then in September, I visited my mom in China, and I visited many mosques. I probably visited almost 2,000 mosques across China.
Wow.
And then, so I discovered this hat, and I said, you know what? This is what going to be my image now.
I love it. I got to give you one.
Yes.
For those of you who are listening, it's a beautiful silver colored hat, and it's got it's very sparkly, you know, fitting close to the head, kind of some dangly things that hang down, look beautiful. Almost like dangling earrings. Right, very, very elegant looking head covering. So for those of us who love looking elegant.
Yeah, it's a special occasion to be on your show, so I better put it on.
Oh, I feel honored. Well, Zoe, we're excited that you're part of the new leadership in the Green Party. And I think many Americans tend to agree with many of the policies of the Green Party. But as Jill Stein was saying, because they're not backed by major corporate interests, they may not have the financial means to get the word out. But today, with the internet, you don't necessarily need a whole lot of money to reach the whole population of the United States. Gone are the days when you have to depend on the major networks and buy $1 million ads. All you need is a team to do a whole lot of texting and emailing and appearing on shows like this, and you can reach your audience. So thank you for representing the Green Party today and giving us some insight about the strategy for this upcoming election.
Yes, I think I first want to introduce myself, why I became a member of a Green Party. I think it's probably a resemblance of many people's feelings that after living in the United States for 30 years, and I see more and more poverty in the United States, while U.S. is, manufacturing wars across the globe, and there's nothing I can do about it. And initially, I was thinking I'm going to exile myself out of the United States because there's nothing I could do. Until I heard about Jill Stein and the student protest on campus. Those two things changed my mind. And I realized actually there's a lot of things we could do. Just like those brave students, they put themselves on the line and then advocate for justice and human rights that the United States has been calling for around the world. So, and then when they stood up and they were actually being brutalized by police, even in like democratic controlled cities and states. And it's really blown my mind. And it's where is the democracy and freedom of speech they were talking about all those years to the rest of the world? And then I heard Jill Stein, he was arrested for supporting the students. And I said, well, this lady in her 70s, a white Jewish lady, she put herself on the line for us. And if she could do that, then there's nothing I should sit around doing nothing. That's why I joined her movement, become a member of a Green Party in May. And then in June, I got myself be the chair of Cook County Green Party because the people in the party didn't want to do anything. For a long time, the Green Party was a country club for a few people. Good and, talk about things, issues, pop up a few years. But that's no more. From this year, under the champion of Green Jill Stein, the Green Party become a Green Party 2.0.
Great. Well, I also saw many of the young people at the recent address in Little Palatine there in Illinois of young, energized students. And also it was noted that for a long time, the Green Party had been kind of stagnant, a lot of the old energy from the 70s, it kind of sort of died out because that generation is now in their 60s and 70s in terms of age. And so the energy level isn't there, even though the philosophy might still be there, the consciousness about not giving in to big corporations that are raping the land and the people. The philosophy is still there, but the energy to create an organization was missing. And that's why it's so significant that there's new, younger, energetic people that are willing to build an organization. But now I've got a question, and then we're going to go to our phone lines and our co-hosts and get some thoughts from our listening audience. For decades, this country has been run by two parties, either a Democratic candidate or a Republican candidate. Every now and then a third party candidate emerges, and it usually does impact the election, but sometimes it impacts the election in that the more conservative so-called candidate wins because progressive people might think about supporting the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party is not quite progressive enough. So they take their votes to the third party. And then sometimes that causes the conservative candidate to win. What is the thought? And I've heard Kamala Harris kind of indicate this. What is the thought of Green Party members that a vote for the Green Party is really a vote for Donald Trump because it's going to take away votes from the Democratic Party? Is it taking away votes, or are these votes like with Kareem said he wasn't going to vote for her anyway? So are these votes that weren't going to go for the Democratic Party anyway? So it's really not taking away votes, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think what Kamala Harris said, all the Democrats support said, they just put a blame game for their imminent defeat, because for people like me, I voted for Biden in 2020, and then I feel like I myself feel complicit in this Gaza genocide because my vote gave him the mandate, put him in the White House. Now he executes these orders to commit genocide with my vote. And I feel so, I need to redeem myself. I couldn't bear that kind of guilt. And with this thought, I would never in my lifetime ever vote for Democrat again. So this is the most, Democrat lost forever. and there's millions of us. And always in the past election, there's almost 1/3 of eligible voters sit out, will not vote.
Yes.
But before there was no third party, these people just would not exercise their right, constitutional right. And this time, when I discovered Green Party, that was my voice. That I will voice first against the genocide and then redeem myself of voting for Biden in 2020.
Ooh.
And then I also vote for a future that is good for people, planet, and peace. So don't say that we take votes from Democrat. No, we left Democrat Party on the day of the genocide.
Wow. 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 Well, a whole lot of people feel like this is the party that's really representing their point of view, and they wouldn't have voted otherwise, or definitely wouldn't have voted for president otherwise if there was not an alternative. So, Kareem, your thoughts, or would you do you have callers that would like to comment as well?
Yes, I have two callers on the line, but I want to share with us something that was a monumental shift. We followed the money. We know South Africa practiced apartheid. It was an apartheid government. And over time, it took time to get the world population to boycott corporations and companies that supported the apartheid regime in South Africa. There is a site on YouTube that identifies corporations and companies that they are encouraging people to boycott. I ask that we get that information. So when you're talking about buying elections, AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee, is the strongest lobby in this country. They call it the Jewish lobby, but that's a misnomer. That's not correct. The name of the organization identifies it and its purpose. American Israeli Political Action Committee, not American Jewish Political Action Committee. We have to make these distinctions. For in New York City, at Wall Street, the largest demonstration ever held against Wall Street recently was a demonstration sponsored by Jews in this country. They're saying not in our name. So we don't want to how can I say, get it twisted. This is not anti-Judaism. This is anti-Israeli policy, the Zionist policy.
Yes.
The Zionist policy. So this is not a religious war. Oh no. This is heavily financial. Heavily financial.
All the money. Yes.
So we have to be aware of these things, but inshallah, as the word goes around, and people will begin to boycott these arms makers. These arms, they are making a killing. I mean, they are making in more than one way.
In more than one way.
Their stock is so high. Their stock is so high, it's a shame. So I'll stop right there. I want to open up one of the mics here on America 360.
All right. Well, let's hear from our caller.
Please state your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Michael Hameen, Jacksonville, Florida. And there is a need for more representation than just conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican. but it has to be, as I've heard others say, it has to be built from the ground up. You just can't come in at the top of the ticket with no ground support, with no foundational support from the local town, state. It just, we're not getting the education we need to develop more choices. And, I was told years ago, you can't let, I'm trying to think of how it was put, you can't let the good be negated by the ideal. That's one way of putting it. Our government has had relationships with Israel from the very beginning of the partition circumstances, and maybe even before then, with Zionist people of the Zionist ideology, which is not religious. So we blast the president, but the president is only an administrator, and there are established rules, regulations, laws that they have to abide by. The commitment of our government, that's the Senate and the House, and other agencies and business connections, has been long-standing. So this naivete, this naive idea, we have to have practical strategies for changing the world. And this emotional movement or emotional focus on idealism, the world has gotten much better if you look at it historically, and it didn't get much better, all of a sudden. It was incrementally changed. The savagery of America and other governments, has changed over a long time by virtue of individuals that say we have to do better. And it's never the many, it's always the few. But we've got to find a practical way to have more choice and more nuanced conversations and expressions to make this country better. Like for instance, white people, they call Caucasians, European Americans were involved in terms of respecting African slaves and African American people from the early days. So much so that they had laws about interracial marriages and so forth. Lastly, the abolitionist movement. There were people who were involved in respect for the slaves before the organizational efforts of the abolitionist movement. But we've got to have people with sound reasoning, emotional control, because there are some things that are very upsetting. But we've got to be more strategic if we're going to change the world for the better. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your thoughts. I'd like to bring in a caller right before we take another break, because we've got three more callers on this. Okay, but we want you all to hold on, and let me bring in area code. Let's see. Area code 773-221. I believe we have our dear brother Nelson Bay, and I know that you've been a staunch Trump supporter, and there are people who are believing because Donald Trump has his own money, he's independently financed, not so much depending on corporate interests, that he may have other responses to this war machine. In terms of your views and your support, do you see Donald Trump as having a different view and a different strategy for the war in Gaza than the current administration?
Well, he's being financed by the wealthiest woman in Israel, Miriam Adelson. He owns the Haaretz newspaper and other things. And in order for him to be financed by the Zionists, he has to expressly support them. I may actually vote for Dr. Sheba. I may do a write-in. And I'm glad to hear about what Zulema is doing. I was thinking about Zulema just yesterday because she's good people and I like Zulema. And I would be honored to have the Green Party endorsement in 2026 when I run for governor of Illinois. And,
well, get involved in the party. It is an opportunity. Yes, this is.
Yes,
this is,
yes. I want to talk to the young people in the Green Party and listen to what they have to say.
Fantastic.
And be active as a gubernatorial candidate in 2026 in Illinois.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. We're certainly glad you have called in and expressed that thought. We're going to take a quick break and come back and take some more calls and to listen a little bit more of Green Party candidate Jill Stein. And there are people who are looking to join the party and actually make it a viable third option for voters in America. So we'll be right back after this quick break. We're going to take some more of those calls from on the American Muslim 360 line. And here's some more from Jill Stein as she talks about her position on the war in Gaza. We'll be right back after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. And if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we've got with us today the new chair, the new Cook County chair of the Green Party, Zoe Ma. And we are so excited because we're presenting an alternative for those who are absolutely we are clear that we are not in favor of the continuing policy, but we definitely want an alternative. And let's take another caller, and then we'll hear some more from Jill Stein. go right ahead. Kareem Hamid, if you want to open up the mic for another caller. And of course, if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press 1 if you're ready to speak. And there are many people who are actually interested in becoming a part of the Green Party. But I think there just needs to be a belief that we can actually have a movement that is not Democrat or Republican. And there have been some independent candidates that have won elections. But Zoe, if people want to get involved in the Green Party, how do they go about? Is there a website people can go sign up, put their name on the list of party members, that sort of thing?
Yes. There's an Illinois Green Party website. It's ilgp.org, and then you can just pay $12 for a membership to join. It's very easy. Then depends on your residency. If you are in Cook County, you will be part of the Cook County Green Party. And then I just actually help to even make our party even younger. I was in the chair for a couple months, but because my family commitment, I need to take a leave from here. And then so I have 2 young Muslim student anti-war activists just take over the Cook County Green Party. So they are actually the chair. I sent you the 2 pictures, and they are excellent activists. And also, they are the future of the Green Party. So whenever I meet young people or people from different communities, I say, Jill Stein single-handedly opened up Green Party to marginalized communities. Join the Green Party and make the party in your own image. So that's the Green Party is going to be the future. With you in it, the Democrat and Republican, especially Democrat, has changed since the Clinton era. Before, the Democrat represent the labor union movement, but no more, because Clinton implemented policy to actually destroy U.S. unions in the U.S. and help the capitalists make more money to export all the factory jobs to Asia. So remember, it was a Clinton, a Democrat, destroy all the jobs in the United States. They signed the WTO to allow China to come into WTO with the only purpose to replace the manufacturer base in the United States.
Wow.
Just click that. It was not Republican. Yeah, that was a Republican policy, but it was in Clinton's era. He transformed the Democratic Party by accepting donation from the Wall Street. From that time, the Democratic Party does not represent the blue-collar workers no more. Look at how many billionaires have the box seats in the DNC convention. Just check those people.
Yes.
They didn't pay $5 to sit over there.
Right. That was big money. And it's just like what Kareem just said about follow the money. We keep thinking, like you're saying, there was a time back in Franklin Delano Roosevelt era when the Democratic Party was representing the blue collar workers, the unions and all of that. That era is gone. You have people who have big financial deals going overseas, and so their political policies are reflecting their business interests. And when they say things like, well, we need to support those who are supporting our interests, well, it's not our interest, the regular people. It's the billionaires and the people who have corporate ties. It's their interests, and we keep getting manipulated into supporting violent overthrows of certain leaders and destabilization of countries that's in the interest of those corporations, and it's hurting us. And like you just said, the jobs going overseas, that was policies that came into fruition under the Democratic Party regime. So we can't be naive about this. It's all about the money, and we're just being played. So Kareem, we've got some callers. We want to get their thoughts.
Yes. Air code 727-741. Please state your name and where you're calling from. Mother Naira Abdullah.
Alhamdulillah. Praise be to Almighty God. And my mind, I'm quickly taking refuge with Almighty God in my mind, my heart and soul, and love to all who are listening now, love and peace. And on the issue, just putting the whole globe as a placemat, so to speak, and seeing all the atrocities. And I asked myself, and Naima, please forgive me, I didn't call your name, but you and Kareem as hosts of this presentation and this mind provoking the time right now and situation at large.
Yes.
Voting, directly to voting, and directly to the concept of ourselves as we are thinkers, and I don't know if the human family is being and it's my responsibility to do that, but being being made aware of our human rights and then our responsibilities along that line, and making it more prevalent in our local areas, so that these situations we don't have to approach in such an emotional, risen way. And I love the enthusiasm, and I love the Jill Stein. Thank you for playing that and sharing how she's worked diligently behind the scenes in the communities and locally and at large. So when I say to myself, I'm here, and I didn't know the backdrop of all of that, but I know of the process of crime, not crime, but ones run on the ticket of crime, reducing crime. But I say, well, what's the producer of that crime? What is the producer? And I have to look at that so that I don't jump on that bandwagon and just criminalize people just because of their lack of having, their lack of the opportunities are there, but then there are other policies that keep them, such as here in Florida, ones who have gone through certain time from the prison part, and then come through and having now to pay for any whatever after they come out, before they can get their voting rights reinstated. And there are many working on the side of trying to get that out of the way, but there are other barriers, and we speak of the mental issues. And so all of these things are happening. So when we have the other parties, CWSP, the Community Watch Hero Conference, now I'm going to speak from that, is asking us to, for those who have the wherewithal to join us, collaborate, so that we can make others aware using our broadcasting systems, such as you are, Naima, and we are here with AM360, so that we can educate and at the same time groom those who are without the understanding, groom it in a very, very beautiful manner. I'm wanting to say every Saturday we meet. Friday we have think tank sessions. Saturday we have facilitators. We're offering from the initiative of faith, family, fasting, function, and freedom. And there's a lot to say about that. But right here on American Muslim 360, everyone, I can't say, I won't go into detail because I don't want to hold up anybody else's time. But thank you once again, and for being an advocate for that which is right for the human family. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much, Sister Martha, for making your voice heard. We appreciate you so much for all you do. And of course, on the screen here, we've got the two chairs of the Cook County Green Party, young, dynamic Muslim sisters which lets you know that young people, they really are the future, and they are seeing an opportunity to build something new and create something that's needed, which is a voice of conscience. Right now, all of our political structures are, as Jill Stein said earlier, they're bought out. They are puppets in the hands of corporate interests, and they will violate the rights of people for profit. And somebody has to have some values, some ethics, some morals, some principles when it comes to leadership. So,
You know, Naima?
yes, go right ahead.
Yes. You know, being a Muslim, I am aware of the hadith, the sayings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad. And some of them are very sound, and some of them are questionable.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one saying that he has that we have rearranged. It is reported that he said, when you see a wrong, change it with your hand.
Yes.
If you can't do that, speak out against it. And if you can't do that, hate it in your heart.
Yes.
And that is the worst symbol of faith. Now, let's reverse that. You have to first hate it in your heart.
Yes.
There is an emotion attached to injustice.
Yes.
There is an emotion attached to it. You have to first hate it in your heart. Then you have the courage to try to change it with your hand, and then to speak out against it. But it begins with a feeling first. A feeling of hate and justice within your heart. Then strategize to remove that injustice. So we don't want to become unfeeling, automatons. You know, yes, there is an emotional level when you witness what is occurring on the earth. I'll stop right there. We have another caller on the line. I don't want to take up too much time.
Yes, let's go right ahead with that caller.
7274. Yes. Wow, look at my speaking.
What's up, Bilal? It's Bilal from New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, crazy time now. Yes, this something that rule I'd like to share. Firm support for justice for Palestine. These are some very serious times. Individuals and nations crossing the line. Civil, federal, and international crimes. Mental illness. People losing their mind. Palestine, we must help humanity. We have a sacred unity. Islamic institution that shows how to develop our community. Ignorance, one of the worst poverty. Need a moral foundation to have generational wealth. To have business guidelines for success doing for itself. Be at the knowledge for international trade, protecting our interests, keeping our money safe. Pooling our resources together. We know how to make life better. Doing what we must do as a community, we can't afford to lose. We, let's keep focused on what we have to do as a community, and just kind of like, use our common sense and what we know of the character of Prophet Muhammad when we go to the poll and do what we have to do. Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us, Brother Bilal. We appreciate you so very much. And it is a responsibility. It really is. So let's take one more call, and then we'll hear some more from Jill Stein. Go right ahead. Take the next caller.
Okay. 706-627. Here, I'm grateful if you could share on this topic. And in the third part.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Brother Muhammad from the Ummah, Prophet Muhammad, by the way of what we've been talking about this morning. We know that we come to an unspoken conclusion that the meaning of money is the root of all evil. But we know that here in America, all the money that's spent here in America, or whatever it is spent on, It's spent by religious people or it's spent by corrupt people. And the people in between is the third party. The ones who at times decide which way of their resources they're going to spend in the cause of what is right for the human family, what is right to respect the Creator, because this is a country that is constantly begging that God bless. What is their definition of God? We have to find that out. But we do know if you have that concept, are you spending your money in the way of righteousness, in the way of establishing a life of freedom, justice, and equality? Are you with those who are corrupt, or being oppressed by those who are corrupt, and who are buying your vote from you, etc.? Then that's what we need to deal with. Now, we also heard what everybody said today. I pray Almighty God Allah will let us understand the sincerity of their persuasion that they're sharing. We all are sharing persuasion. But are we sharing what is right? Are we sharing it the way that it's been prescribed to us to do so that God will bless America? Or are we just being a part of the melting pot of confusion, of worship, of lying, of spending money in the wrong way, etc.? These are the things that adult believers in God or the adult believers in corruption are constantly having in their secret, not secret, but the secret of meetings that they have. They're trying to figure out, how can I convert? How can I persuade these righteous people and get them in such a confused state of falsehood to where they'll spend and keep our world going while we delete and attack and destroy their character, their strength in God, come and save them from this situation that we all experience. And in closing, I hope that we'll remember there's not a Muslim in the United States of America that's not of some nationality. It's just not about us. Imam Muhammad told us it's not, don't become a racist. Every Muslim in America is white, German, Japanese, green, every kind of Muslim is right here in America.
Yeah.
What we have to do is come together and on our own souls first, so that we can establish this model concilium, independent of this corrupt world here that's been here since we can remember. It was built on corruption, saving people and making them animals and treating them like coming here and took robbery, robbed the people who was already here. It's all about God.
Yes.
It ain't about nothing else. We can keep on letting Satan talk us and distract us and keep us in dialogue about his world and keeping his world strong, when we're supposed to be abandoned people who are no longer under that influence. And we're supposed to be coming together right here in the United States of America. All believers people. People of the Bible, using that terminology. People of the Torah, using that terminology. And people of the Quran. We are responsible in making sure that the corrupt people in this country be given a fair chance to change their mind about what they're doing wrong. You know, and then it helps us to establish in this environment of the United States of America to be a model community for the whole world. How it's very easy to ignore one of all of our creations. We're created Muslims. We all know what is right and wrong. All we got to do is come together on those two things. That money seems to be the motive. Everybody's always talking about money all the time, and they don't know what they get. We got billionaires. We got billionaire white people. We got billionaire corrupt people.
Yeah.
We got $2 people, and we got $2 corrupt people. But what we're going to do with this program here is not 360. It's the #1 Islamic voice in America. Don't quit letting the conversation. Keep putting us away from the real voice.
Well, we appreciate you so much, and definitely that is why it's critical, and we're grateful that you have said the words about how important it is to be united. People who are standing on higher principles need to be united so that we can, in fact, change the trajectory of this nation. And we can do it because there are more people who are standing on higher principles than there are people who are willing to be bought and sold. So we must unite our voices and collectively act so that we can change the direction that this nation is going in, which is one of supporting the destruction of others for profit. So before we take a break, we're going to play a few more minutes of Jill Stein and come back and take some more calls as we listen to her very strong views about corruption, war, and what needs to happen so that we can stop being the force across the world that is actually supporting oppression. And we, the people, have the power to change that based on who we support in leadership. So let's take a look at more from Jill Stein and the Green Party as they speak to the young people there in what's known as Little Palestine.
Really something to celebrate if we get there, and something to really work for. And let me say a word about how we get there. It's not only by reaching out to these non-voting eligible voters, but it's going through the motions of grassroots campaigns, whether they're election campaigns or any other kind of community-driven campaign. It's all about phone banking, tabling, flyering, and door knocking. That really is how you build support and momentum in the community. And we will help train people. You may have ways to do this yourself, but we also provide organizers, materials, sample call scripts, databases to be called, etc., and help train people in how to run basically grassroots campaigns of any sort. So these are skills that can be used in many ways after the campaigns too. So that is a big push right now, is to engage everyone who wants to end this genocide right now, and who wants to tell everybody out there that we cannot vote for genocide. If you vote for genocide, you are endorsing genocide. You're enabling it.
That's right.
Absolutely. We cannot do that. So by going to jillstein2024.com and signing up to volunteer, you will have the supports, and we will be in contact and follow up to help provide the skills and the materials to do that, to actually get us to 5%, and who knows, maybe more. Because if that war does massively enlarge in Iran, you could, and by the way, the draft is back. I don't know if you know about that, but the draft is here. It's automatic, so you may not have heard about it. You're being registered. If you are a male between 18 and 25, you are registered for the draft. It may be extended to women. And all it takes is for the president to declare that we are at war, and we're now activating the draft. So
let me add, Dr. Jill, about the 5%. The 5% is the minimum. We're not looking for the minimum here. This is BS. We don't have time for a minimum. We're looking to flip state, flip Michigan, flip Wisconsin, flip Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. It is important. We don't need to start looking for the minimum. And once we get the minimum, which we're talking actually to the community who's going to lead us actually to the maximum, then we're not going to be losing any states anymore. Like, for example, when we were actually debating whether to go and pay the $35,000 for Oklahoma or use this $35,000 to save another 5 or 6 states, the decision was, let's save another 5, 6 states and be on the ballot for it instead of just putting it on one state. So that will help the Green Party actually be on the front and become actually more, like Dr. Stein said, she's going to be actually on the campaign immediately, not running around collecting signatures.
Wow. Yeah, great.
I rode a bike out here tonight, and on the train, just with a lot of people. that are out there. And they're all
I'm just
asleep.
one
So
individual,
I
like
don't know
everyone
how it's
here,
going to happen.
doing what everybody here should be doing. I'm advocating for Jill Stein. Yes, I'm volunteering with her, by the way, 100%. She put me as a senior advisor for her because she is the only hope for Palestine. I'm from Gaza, so it's very emotional for us to see somebody that we're happy to vote for instead of somebody that we're running away from the other side. No, she's the only one. Actually, I'm going to be so happy this year. I'm going to vote for her. My name is Mark.
Yeah, I am witness to him. Truly, all he saw was that Dr. Stein needed a Palestinian to have her back and to give time, and he has given all his time. I am witness to it. He is in it, 100% volunteering with Dr. Stein's campaign, and honestly, he is a role model for something that we should all be doing. That he is putting actions other than not just words. And I would like everyone here to hopefully, like you said, volunteer. Everyone can do something. You don't have to have a background in politics. Everyone can have a part in this campaign and helping us get more than the 5% that Mark was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Elmordo, if you didn't catch his name. Mark is very modest. He tries to stay in the background, but he's an absolute amazing powerhouse. And we've had so many people like Mark, especially from the Muslim American community and the Arab American community, who basically owned our campaign from the very beginning as the one campaign that would actually be on the ballot to challenge empire. We had several choices among progressive candidates, but ours was the only campaign that could be quite assured that we would be on the ballot in enough states that they couldn't marginalize us. They can't write us off. They can't pretend that we're not here. And, they did us the honor of actually, putting out an advertising campaign against us. And we are so honored to be smeared by the Democratic Party. And it is because so many of us have basically put our lives on hold to say this genocide must stop. This is an assault on humanity for all of us, and we must stop this. So Mark is, just an example of so many people who are going all out. And I think that we are all going all out, in one way or another to fight this. And a big shout out to Students for Justice in Palestine. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and so there is a great student movement that is powering this campaign, and many students that protest. It's getting the attention of the public. Many people who are not really aware that this is not a religious war, as it's been said. This is not a religious war. This is about power and control and the whole Zionist philosophy in destroying the Palestinian people so that that land can be taken over. It's not about religion. So for people who are being manipulated into thinking to stand up against genocide against the Palestinians is somehow anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish, that is a lie. It's a manipulation. It's a diversion so that you don't see the real agenda, which is always about money, profit, control. And so we have to be wiser than that.
Share with Zoe. Yes, I want to share with Zoe. The name of the party is the Green Party. And it got that name because they were very concerned about ecological damage.
Yes.
Taking place on the planet. we are witnessing the tragedy and the consequences of not hearing their message.
Yes.
How some certain states in the South were ravaged. Those people lost everything because of the intensity of Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Martin, or Milton, the names were. But those hurricanes, they gained their strength from the warming of the seas, from the warming of the seas. And now we are faced with devastation. Take a look at what has happened in those states. You see Gaza right there. Everything is leveled. People with nothing. So I'm only stating that for me, the direction that I was hearing from the Green Party initially was to stop poisoning the planet.
Yes.
It wasn't adhered to. And look at the devastation we've seen around the world.
Yes. And
monumental.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's a very critical point for us to know that these devastating acts of nature were precipitated by human activity and violating the atmosphere, the planet, all of the intensity of the destruction of our ecology, the killing of the trees, which destroys the balance in our atmosphere. All of these things, like you said, the Green Party was warning us against. Now we're seeing the impact. So that's why.
I also want to add one point. We should not look at the Gaza war as a foreign war.
Right.
This is the whole part of the war economy of the United States since World War II.
Yes.
More than half of our national budgets goes to so-called defense. When there's no war within our borders, what is this all about? It's about the laundering money from taxpayers' pocket to the pocket of the who owns stocks of those companies listed on the Wall Street. So it's actually the whole war is it's just a conduit to channel money to some products that actually make that profits for the 1%. And happily, these products are the bombs, 2,000-pound bombs that are killing people overseas. And to rip the kids' organs out of a 6-year-old kid. They are testing bombs on Palestinian children.
It's pretty horrifying. It's pretty horrifying.
So, but this is all about the war economy. That's why American voter have to exercise their right, because our national policy affects the life of everybody in the whole world, but the rest of the world cannot vote. They are affected, but they cannot vote. So it's our duty to exercise our vote, and then our vote is a bullet to strike back of the brutalities. So don't consider our vote is not important. You know why our vote is important? That's why they spend billions of dollars to brainwash us. Either say your vote is not important, don't vote, or they brainwash us to believing something else to vote against our conscience. But believe, no matter how much power the dollar bill they have, it's our finger that actually touch the screen to send somebody to the office. It's our finger to write out the name on the ballot. Like in Illinois, it's Jill Stein and the Rudolph Ware. And the Rudolph Ware, our VP, is a Black Muslim. His name is Bush Ware and Bilal Ware. On YouTube, he's a very well-spoken, well-educated Black Muslim scholar. He's a professor at the University of Santa Barbara. University of California in Santa Barbara. Very well spoken. Check him out. So Green Party is resembling what is America makeup? White, black, brown, all different colors, different faith. Jewish, Christian, and Islamic. It's all faith. Or people don't believe anything. That's where we find a home in the Green Party. That's why I feel comfortable. I'm throwing myself into it. I'm a volunteer, but I work almost like 24/7 every day, go all around, because this is my passion. And that's the only thing I can do for people in Gaza. Not only use my vote as a bullet to strike back at the Zionist regime inside of the United States and in Israel, but also to call out all people with the heart of humanity. We need to stand up for ourselves, for our humanity today and tomorrow.
Yes.
And then stop this war machine. Not a war machine, it's a war economy.
Yes.
This war economy, that money should not spend on to go to those people owned stocks on the Wall Street. Money should stay in the United States to help end the homeless, leave people out of poverty, give them, like in Chicago, the right of home ownership for the Black community. The Black community is facing the same thing as the Palestinians. They've been ethnically cleansed out of Chicago. The Black population has been reducing. Why? Because the policy within the city of Chicago, a Democratic-controlled city of Chicago, that Trump and Republicans are not here. But look at our life. The South Side, the West Side. The reason I don't want to live here anymore, because I see the hypocrisy. I was lied to come to the United States to think this country, being the richest country in the world, there's a free from the poverty. No, there's more poverty manufactured in the past 30 years. I cannot do that. But every American should believe, and especially who suffer poverty. Free from poverty is every American's entitlement. We should fight for that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And Green Party is the platform for we to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're gonna take a last break and come back and talk about how do we end a wartime economy, because it's affecting everything, from the homelessness to the crime, and we the people have the power to end that. So let's talk about when we come back and take more calls. If you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. And of course, the numbers are scrolling across the screen if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, The Female Solution. We are talking about the upcoming election and protesting war in Gaza. Will Muslim voters decide the U.S. presidential election? There is a very, very, very large Muslim population, and not just the Muslims that are against this war, but definitely those who are against the war economy will make their voices heard and will have an impact in this election. And of course, Green Party candidate Jill Stein is giving voters an alternative. So we'll be right back after this last break. Stick and stay. Don't stray away. Be back in a moment. Stay with us.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network, 515-605-9325, or call in and comment on the On Air Radio Network, 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
Let's hear a few more words from Jill Stein.
Your vote's reassigned to your second choice. So it ensures you that you're never splitting the vote. You're never throwing your vote away. You're never contributing to some unintended consequence. You're not, say, taking a vote away from a Democrat and throwing the vote to Trump, if you subscribe to that. And I don't want to subscribe to that myself. I believe we have two greater evils in this race, and our job is to fight for the greater good. Don't let them talk to you. It means they can't use fear to extort your vote, because that's the way the system works right now. Most people vote against who they hate the most instead of voting for what they want. And if you do that, if you do a so-called lesser evil vote, you disappear what your values and your priorities are. There is no record, there's no evidence that there was opposition to genocide in this election. If everybody's disappearing their vote behind Kamala Harris or whoever you might think the lesser evil is, there's no evidence of the opposition to genocide. But we know over 68% of the American people oppose this genocide. This election should reflect that, and it should bring an end to that genocide. Amen. Ranked choice voting is one way to ensure that people cannot be intimidated, because there's no throwing the election to someone else who's an unintended, beneficiary of vote splitting. But the Democrats are now fighting ranked choice voting. If they really cared about the vote being split, they would use it. I want to say hi to Kelly, my deputy campaign manager, who's just arrived. Thank you, Kelly. So the Democrats are fighting this tooth and nail. In New York City, they adopted it just for the Democratic primary because it's a superior way of voting. It's a very efficient and thoughtful way to count the votes. But they forbid it being used in the general election because they want to be able to threaten people that you've got to vote Democratic because you don't want that horrible Republican. So they are extorting your vote. They are fighting the solution to it, which really tells you what the party is about, which is about manipulating people. It's a predatory political party. It does not have your interests at hand. They want to talk about how terrible the Republicans are because they're not supporting you. They don't have anything to be talking about and winning your vote. So instead of winning your vote, they're trying to extort your vote with fear. So, just be mindful and let people know we could solve this with ranked choice voting. It will help. But at the end of the day, we need the courage of our convictions. We need to stand up and say no to this manipulation of our votes.
So that, of course, more from Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate for president. And you can go into the voting booth and vote for her. And you would write in her name. Yes, so let's take another caller. Go right ahead.
Code 724-866. Please state your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. This is Gail Muhammad from Sharon, Pennsylvania. I was just wondering a few questions as to how many of the swing states is Jill Stein on, because the electoral college votes determine a whole lot, because that's how President Trump got in. He got the electoral college votes when Hillary Clinton had the popular votes. And then I was also wondering, we also had African American Cornel West running, and he was running under the Green Party at one time, from what I could read. And then he had to switch. And I know here in my state, he was denied ballot access. So that's why I was wondering, because in the long run, that electoral college determines who becomes president. And, you know, we can, that's just factual, and it's part of the system. And then I was wondering how a Green Party candidate goes after those electoral votes, because it's supposed to go by voter votes, but as we could see in that election with President Trump and Hillary Clinton, it did not work as the process was supposed to be. So that's why I was wondering with her. And then I didn't know what the current status of Dr. Cornel West was as far as his bid for the presidency. So that I was asking someone on the committee, how many of the swing states is Jill Stein able to go? I'm looking for our ballot now in Pennsylvania to see if she's on the ballot even. So that's really kind of one of the, after we get over all the emotional stuff, that's the key, is she on the ballot, that you can actually vote for her. And Dr. Ware. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And that's, you know, that's been an issue ever since we started electing a president. The so-called founding fathers set up the electoral process because they did not want the population to be able to vote directly for the president. You know, what a scam that is. So the idea is that this electoral college provides kind of a buffer for if the people decide to do something en masse and the elite leadership doesn't want it to happen that way, then the electoral college becomes the means whereby they can still control who gets elected president. And as you said, there are people who've gotten the popular vote, but the electoral votes, which is such a convoluted system, those were the votes that put them in office. So we have.
That's my question is, the electoral college vote, instead of maybe another third party coming into being, why don't we look to dissolve the electoral college? And I was wondering, are any of the candidates for that, running for that? Then that would be, because if I'm not mistaken, over with the apartheid, it became one person, one vote. They don't have a representative democracy like we do. So that makes a difference. And then the popular vote would determine who the presidency is.
That's how it should be.
If Jill Stein is also working to try to, I guess it would be a constitutional amendment to get rid of the electoral college.
So,
and that would be a form of reform.
I agree, and I know that that's been something that candidates in the past have talked about. I believe Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., who of course ran twice, was pushing for that because you could see how it actually takes away the power of the voice of the people, that electoral college. That's an ongoing movement, and I believe that is something that's going to happen in the future. That structure will be removed, but we, the people, have to keep pushing it. But Zoe, do you know if Jill Stein is she also an advocate of getting rid of the electoral college?
I'm not at this part. I don't know, but we are on our platform is ranked choice voting. So we eliminate the primary, because with the primary, only the Republican Democrat can participate, and the people who don't want to identify with either party cannot, participate.
Can participate, right?
So ranked choice voting is most important to replace the primary, and then you can get to the next stage.
So then rather than having a primary, the ranked choice voting system would be you vote and whoever wins, that's who wins. And no, weeding out, according to party, which of course makes sense. And now the question is, how would we keep that kind of system from being heavily influenced by who has the most money? Because right now that's what interferes with the democracy. The one who can put out the most information, the most advertisement. A lot of people don't do a lot of investigation to really understand the issues. So how do we, if we were to have a system like that where, you vote once, whoever wins, that's it. And it's, one person, one vote, as it was in South Africa. And I remember that because, we all know they spent days in line. They had a list of the candidates and the pictures of every person that you couldn't read. The photograph, and everybody voted. And of course, we got Nelson Mandela, who after 27 years in prison became the president of South Africa. So, is that a possibility to have that one person, one vote system and elect a president?
I think if we given, just like a job in, when people apply for a job, they should have like all their resumes attached. People just need to read that. And then I think it's a lot of, even in Chicago, we have a list of candidates as written candidates, right? And they don't give you at the voting station until you are educated voter and request it. Mm-hmm. So the whole election board is also control the flow information. If the election board say, okay, we have all list of the candidate with their name and with their background, then we will arm with the information. We are educated to vote. Right now, people go to the booth blind because the only thing they can get is from the airways controlled by the corporate media. They say, oh, we have never heard of Jill Stein because Jill Stein, all the third-party candidate has been, silenced, blacklisted by the mainstream media. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a good point. It's the media are controlled by the two parties.
Well, that's why we have to empower social media, which is actually controlled by the people. Yeah, and I think that is what will change the face of politics. Now, one other thing, the sister from Pennsylvania was asking, is Jill Stein on the ballot in certain states? Is she on the ballot in any of the swing states, or are all the states? Is it all a matter of write-in, or is she on?
I think she's on most of the state. The only I think the write-in is New York and Illinois as the large state. I think she's on most of as a name on the ballot. Okay. She's on Wisconsin. I think Georgia. I think Pennsylvania too. So yes.
Okay, all right.
Go to Jill Stein 2024.com to get all the updated information.
JillStein2020.com.
2024.
2024.com. All right, JillStein2024.com. All right, we'll put that on the screen. And any more callers, Brother Kareem, on your line? Let me check our line here. If you're on our switchboard and have something to say, you got about a minute. Actually, it's about time for us to go, but we do appreciate all of you all who have participated in this conversation. We urge you to make an educated decision. This is a serious one. We need to make it known that we're not going to support genocide. We're not going to be forced to support genocide or vote for the lesser of two evils or vote against the one we hate the most. We have to vote for peace, and whoever is speaking peace is the one who deserves our vote. So make your voice known. And last words before we go, Kareem?
Yes, it is a misnomer when they identify this country as a democracy, a democratic democracy. It is not. It is a representative republic. It's a republic, and you are supported by whoever you send as the representative. I myself, I truly favor that we get back to one man, one vote.
Absolutely.
That's why that 3/5 of a man is placed in the Constitution. We think that it was wrong along racial lines. No, it was, they used that to level out 90 seconds.
That's it.
So the African American only equated to 3/5 of a vote. So I'll stop right there.
All right. Well, we got a lot of laws to repeal and overturn. And on the screen, ilgp.org. If you want to get involved with the Illinois Green Party, there it is. And of course, you can find out about the Green Party in your state. And this early voting has started. Get a ballot. Hey, and if your heart tells you, go green. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Long-term gain, not the short-term pain. Let's fight for the long-term gain. Don't forget about short-term pain.
That's right. Both for long-term gain, not short-term pain. Well, thank you so much. Join us again tomorrow. We'll be right back here on The Female Solution with Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. And until that time, continue to shine your light.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.